Hello, friends. It's week 8 by Mageddon, as some might say. 6 teams on bye, injuries mounting everywhere, the return of some players. But Mike Evans goes out when Rashee Rice comes back. What do we do with a difficult, gross, tricky week 8 slate, but one with a lot of awesome running back plays? Myself, Erik Beimfohr, and Jordan Vanek are going to get into it right now on your blueprint for the week 8 DraftKings and Fanduel slate. Let's do it. All right, Jordan, I was thinking this morning about whether this show would go shorter or longer than usual, because at first glance, you're like, fewer games, really gross. Play some of these awesome running backs. You tell me who to play at receiver, right? You tell me who to play at quarterback, and like, let's move on is your first glance. But then you start to look at receiver and tight end and quarterback, and you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know who is even a good play this week in on any format. Good luck trying to cobble together a managed league wide receiver room if you have like guys on bye. This is a wild slate where I still can't really figure out where I want to go from. Like every week would be like okay, let's talk game stacks and let's talk quarterback this. I'm like, let's just talk running back, I think, for a couple hours and get the hell out of here, because man, this is a doozy of a slate, and I'm hoping we'll figure it out. We got on the right track last week with the Bo Nix and the Broncos and everything that led, despite some other disastrous decisions that I made that made last week really good. I'm interested to see what we can come up with, because I'm going to need that kind of thing again this week.
Yeah, no, the Bo Nix call was scary for about 3 quarters. He just needed a 33-point fourth quarter. That's it. That's like totally acceptable. That's why DFS is played to the end, and it felt great that it wasn't garbage. They actually just won, so it's like nice.
Right.
Like I will say the those that are on scores and odds laddering Marvin Mims to over 100. Obviously didn't get 100 yards, but you definitely should have profited at the 85 mark. And this slate, I think I am going to be diving in as gross as I can at receiver to see if I can plug in the big 3. I want to see if I can do it without feeling like, oh Jesus, what am I signing myself up for? And that's why I told you before the show, I've been so invested in receiver this weekend, because this is the first week where I'm just going to plug in the running backs. They're great. They're easy to pick. I don't have to think about it. Yep. And then I'll figure out the receiver position. It's really ugly. It's a really, really ugly week at receiver just because of quarterback injuries, and also guys like Puka Nacua. And then you have Dallas, where it's, hey, these are 2 awesome receivers, but now one of them's going to get Pat Surtain. And not many beat that guy in coverage. So it's a full slate that I'm very excited about this weekend.
Yeah, so let's actually start at running back, because I do feel like we'll be able to sift through. I think you nailed it, that you can get gross at quarterback, you can get gross at receiver, at tight end. We'll get in the weeds, but kind of it's a little bit of a really crappy buffet, right? This is a Ponderosa or something, right? Where it's like, I don't really like any of this food, but at least I get to choose whatever I want when I go up there. That's what I feel about the game stacking stuff. We'll talk about some of our favorites, but what do you do amongst a running back group that, like you said, the big 3 is awesome, but the return of Lamar Jackson, what does that do for a now cheap Derrick Henry? Can the Jets be functional at all? Is the Bengals matchup so good that even the Jets can do something? There's a lot to get into, I think, at the running back position. So I think kind of starting there as how that's where all the good plays are. How do you pick the right good plays? We can all decide amongst the trash, right? Whatever. What another man's trash is another man's treasure, whatever it's called. Sure. But the running back is where all the actual treasure is, and figuring out, right, do we just jam the big three superstars, like how do we navigate running back, I think is a big deal. Let's just pull that one up. I have it sorted by projected fantasy points. And as you alluded to, what's funny is this is DraftKings scoring, and the big three running backs even project for more fantasy points than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Like they are that big of a standout just across the slate, like raw points and everything. There are some other good plays, but the big three, of course, being Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and Christian McCaffrey, kind of separating themselves from the rest of the field. R.I.P. Saquon, man. Good Lord. Who would have thought this at the beginning of the season? But anyway, let's just talk about those big three. How much have they gapped the field? And have they gapped the field this week so much that we try to play at least two of them in all of our lineups?
Yeah, so Bijan in particular, it stands out to me for against Miami. Tyler Algier popped up as limited in the practice report. And it's like, I was going into this week, like looking at this particular matchup 2 weeks ago. I might play Bijan and Tyler and Algier. I might just lock in rushing because
just quickly, I have a buddy that texted me on like Monday or Tuesday or whatever and was like, Bijan plus Algier in all my DFS lineups this week or whatever. And it's like, so I'm with you.
It's like, it's not, it feels gross, but then you're like, they might run for 304 because Penix is hurt. He's got a nagging foot injury. You're at home. The Dolphins can't stop the run, and they've actually been decent against the pass. Like, Rasul Douglas has actually played exceptional football. Like, if I were a team, I would be moving a pick to go get Rasul Douglas. Packers probably should have just re-signed him, but that's besides the fact. And then you have Jonathan Taylor against the Titans, and it's like they give up more yards per carry before contact than any team in the NFL. Devondre Sweat came back, so it was a little bit better on that front. That guy's like 400 pounds, and that's a difficult person to block. McCaffrey gets Kittle back. Christian McCaffrey right now, like I have a Chris Carter signed jersey behind me because he visited my brother's one of the country clubs, and really cool dude. McCaffrey's putting up numbers that he did in 1994 at receiver. That's the receiver. If McCaffrey keeps to his pace, which obviously it's difficult, he's on pace to have 120 catches for over 1,200 yards and over 5 touchdowns. That is insanity because that's the 11th or 19th time someone had done that in NFL history. And he's doing it at running back. He is just every week. It's just like, yeah, you're guaranteed, it feels like you're guaranteed what Khalil Shakir's good games are, but then you're getting Christian McCaffrey as a running back. And it's like, that's kind of stupid. Like even in a matchup against the Houston Texans the Texans defense is absurd. One of the best in football. Their weak point is their linebackers in coverage. that is where you can win. And also, you don't want to hold the ball long because their pass rush is disgusting. And again, he's another great play. And those three, it's like McCaffrey's probably like the way the projections are is how I would rank them. And it's only because the Texans are just so dominant. One thing I will point out, I am very interested in Achane this weekend because the Falcons lost Divine Diablo. That dude has been playing exceptional football for them at linebacker, and he got hurt in the second quarter, I think, of that 49ers game. And Christian McCaffrey's yards per carry went from like 3.4 to like 7 for the rest of the game. And my brother was the one who pointed that out because he's a huge Falcons fan. He's like, yeah, once he got hurt, like our backup linebacker has no idea what he's doing. So Achane and Bijan in the same game feels gross, but this could be one of the weeks for Achane to have the few explosive runs that we need.
It's so tricky because I really enjoy leaning into matchups when the field is not so much, right? Like even paying 9,500 for Jonathan Taylor over Christian McCaffrey feels weird because of everything that you just like. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's incredible, right? But yeah. Christian McCaffrey is getting right, like he's getting Khalil Shakir plus old Chuba Hubbard,
Nick Chubb.
Yeah. You're getting Nick Chubb and Khalil Shakir in one $9,000 right player, and you only have to spend one roster spot. That's pretty good. So like on one hand, it's like you said, it is a little bit of the weaker part of the matchup of the Texans, but overall, this is not a good. It's not a good matchup. And so when you get those, one of the things that I like to lean into is not just like, oh, this is like a bad running matchup or whatever, right? And I will talk about that every week, but it's just overall scoring, right? This ended up being very wrong, but kind of right. Like I faded Quinshon Judkins last weekend, right? And it was like, I know he's going to get the ball a lot. I know the Miami run defense is terrible, but I just don't think that the game environment is going to. So I'm like, I'm willing to roll the dice. He's going to be good, right? But I'm willing to roll the dice. He doesn't get 3 touchdowns. Spoiler alert, he got 3 touchdowns. So, like it's one of those where you're like, if the Niners are probably going to score fewer points than the Falcons and then the Colts, does that automatically mean, we should fade Christian McCaffrey? No, not necessarily, but right, if the Colts and Falcons are dropping 35-40 and the 49ers are kind of grinding out 20, it's like, I don't know, man, if somebody else gets a touchdown, even with the receiving, does that make Christian McCaffrey, because he is 9,000, right? And it's not even just, is he 9,000? It's these other 2 guys are 9,000 also. And, you kind of have to decide, like you said, can we jam them all in? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. It would be sweet if you can, but I do still tend to think, before last week, CMC was not particularly efficient. Is that the George Kittle effect? It's very possible. It's definitely possible. Am I willing to, on the road, right, coming from the West Coast to Houston against a really good defense, is he the guy that maybe doesn't make it for me? It's possible. That's where my head is at right now. We will see when we reconvene on Sunday for our Sunday morning show. But that's sort of where my head is at right now. If I'm ranking them, I would be the same as you and the same as this list. Bijan first. I just don't know how to fade Bijan because he's getting receiving too, right? Their lack of weapons, his receiving game usage is truly insane. Like he's seeding work. Tyler Algier's getting double-digit touches every week, and it doesn't matter because Bijan will be out there playing receiver next to Tyler Algier. They're scheming him up stuff. He's kind of baby Christian McCaffrey in his role. It's not quite as voluminous as a receiver, but it's up there. And man, is he special. With the football in his hand. So if he's only 29.6%, like, come on.
he's going to be higher.
That's insane. So for me, I still think Bijan is the priority. Then if we can't get all 3 of them, it would be where what do we do with JT versus CMC?
Yeah, no, I agree to that. And that's where it's like the Titans secondary is worse than the Texans, where that becomes like a thing of like Daniel Jones is so much more of a factor as a runner.
And can we pivot to that? We talked about how gross like receiver and passing game. Can I just do like, all right, I'm going to get my CMC is going to be the 49ers offense. Bijan is going to be the Falcons offense. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor is amazing. But what if it's Daniel Jones this week? Right. Yeah. And like, I can tell myself the story of like, well, Daniel Jones gets 4 of the touchdowns. Yeah. It's harder to tell yourself that story of Mac Jones with no real weapons against the Texans and a hurt Michael Penix in a game where they really don't need to throw and don't want to, right? It's just a little bit easier to say the Daniel Jones side seems more appealing.
Yeah, and Miami secondary is better than Tennessee, which is just wild to say. It's in Jarvis. They traded Jarvis Brownlee, and like I think I said it on the show on Sunday, he locked down Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker couldn't get open he was awful in that game. And Jarvis Brownlee locked him down, and Xavier Legette became a person when Andy Dalton just came in out of nowhere.
What a game! Cool. What a game! Good
dude
for him.
Iced it, which was just crazy to me. But let's continue down the running back position because I hate Saquon Barkley. He ruined everything for me.
Oh my gosh, man! I didn't end up on him in my main team. Thank the Lord. I played Bill, so it's not like it was any better. But at least I saved a couple bucks to get my 4 points. I just don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it with Saquon. I would truly rather play your Achane call, but I would also just rather play Derrick Henry. Yeah. So I will say, we'll get to quarterback and stuff. I'm under the assumption that Lamar Jackson is back this week. That's how I'm operating. If we get to Friday or Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and that's not the case, we'll adjust. But $6,000 Derrick Henry in a Bears matchup that we have, it's had its ebbs and flows. Most people probably remember the Genty game, which was the explosion against the Bears, but we've also had some Bill wasn't so efficient in this spot, etc. But I do think, generally speaking, the yards before contact stuff is really good against the Bears. The overall like DVOA and EPA per play and all that kind of stuff isn't amazing against their run defense. But I think some of that is matchup related, right? And all that. And now you welcome in probably a healthy Lamar Jackson, but also maybe being eased back in a little, right? Where it's like, oh, well, let's let the big dog eat a little bit and make it a little bit easier on Lamar. And he's only 6,000. And he's not like mega chalk, right? He's definitely going to be popular, but he's not, because of the presence of all these other spend up guys. Derrick Henry was the sort of the first guy that jumped out to me outside of those top options.
Yeah, no, Henry against the Bears. If Lamar's going, if Lamar's fully going, then it's easy to just pay there. Outside of him, that's probably James Cook. Is interesting off the bye week. Carolina's been a good run defense, but we haven't been tested against like pass catching running backs.
Is James Cook a pass catching running back now?
He
can.
He can.
He's really good at it. They just don't fucking do it.
I didn't realize his numbers this year to be that's wild. I remember like when Joe Brady first took over, I was like the first thing he did. He's like, "You're getting 6 targets a game," but he definitely took that away from him. That's crazy. Wow.
Look at this. 0, 1, 4, 3, 1. Yeah. It's insane. Coming in, he was like out of Florida, he was more of
Georgia.
Out of Georgia, he was like a little bit more of a receiving back.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, can he really be like this workhorse? Now he's fucking Derrick Henry. They don't throw him the ball. They put Ty Johnson in on passing downs.
Yeah. Outside of that, it's it's just Derrick Henry. I was trying to make a case like Breece Hall. Like I get where you're also the idea of it's the Bengals.
It's just the Bengals. That's it. That's the only point.
It's just they're just so dysfunctional. Like and also they play so much man coverage, and I just don't see them cover. Like I don't see it winning, and I can see them in a negative game script pretty quickly with Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco's not dumb. He's very like, oh, this is Jamar Chase, this is T. Higgins. I'm going to throw to them as much as I can. And
that was awesome.
What he did on Thursday?
Holy shit!
And you run the same defense for 14 years. That's the guy who's played that defense probably 30 times. like he knew exactly what was going on. He's like, okay, cool. Like I know I have to get rid of the ball quick here. Like Joe Flacco has just diced them up. That's why Tomlin was so mad. He's like, I've been running this thing. I don't have anything different. It's like, brother, you have to learn match coverage. This drop in zone stuff is just terrible. But yeah, no, Rico Dowdle's not a thing anymore. As much as the Bills are a bad matchup, it's just we're alternating drives. Until they drop into the 5Ks, I'm not touching that backfield. I think Rico will be the starter this week, personally. Nothing against Chuba. It's just Rico ran better last week. We should let Rico start this week, but I don't know if the team wants that. And also the Panthers are getting back, I think, Damian Lewis, who's a massive piece of the run game, which is why they weren't as efficient against the Jets.
What about on the opposite side? It's not a super great matchup, but Tommy says Chase Brown is a little bit due on that side. Right. So maybe the matchup is a little bit better for Flacco. And frankly, it's the Bengals. It's always the pass game first. Right. But
yeah, if
the Jets are this incompetent, which, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm done. Aaron Glenn. Nope. I'm not. That's it. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in this Aaron Glenn experience anymore. The 2 weeks ago, mocking reporters who asked about Justin Fields' job. Yeah. Stability, being like, what kind of, that's a ridiculous question. Then just a couple of short weeks later, even ownership is coming out and basically saying like, yeah, like we still back Aaron Glenn. What are you supposed to do with the quarterback play like that? And it's like, you put the fucking team together. You're like, what do you mean? You picked that quarterback and you gave them no weapons. You're the one making this dude throw to Josh Reynolds and Mason Taylor and Arian Smith, who couldn't catch a fucking cold in college. You think that's going to solve Justin Fields' problems? Arian Smith, like the Jets are so incompetent, and Aaron Glenn is not helping any of that. Coming out this week, doing the whole, we're not going to reveal who our starting quarterback is because we don't want to give away anything. It's like, brother, the Bengals don't care. Like, you think the Bengals give two shits whether it's Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields? Like, it truly doesn't matter. So I'm just out on the Jets, but I do keep coming back to that defense from a Brees perspective. It's just Derrick Henry's like the same price. But Tommy mentioning Chase Brown is, if they are this incompetent, even against the Bengals, this is the first spot really for Chase Brown all season to like, okay, let's play with a lead, catch a couple checkdowns, and maybe he gets the touchdowns, right? He doesn't even have to be hyper efficient if he gets his 20 touches and scores 2 touchdowns, because the price is down, the ownership is down, even though the matchup's not great. Maybe the game script is.
The only thing with Chase Brown that's tough is the roles changed. Like, beginning of the year, first, 2 of the first 4 weeks of the season, besides the blowout of the Minnesota game, dude had 70% of the snaps. Last 3 weeks, he's barely gotten over 50. He had one game of 60.
And those are close games, right?
Yeah, those are decent. Yeah, semi. And it's like last year, like what made Chase Brown so great and what smashed for those late season best balls, dude was averaging 80% of the snaps to end the season. Like, he was playing every snap. That was like the argument. It's like, hey, Chase Brown's not efficient. He hasn't been very great. This is not a great offense line, but Joe Burrow is going to score touchdowns, and he's on the field 85% of the time, and that's what matters. It's like this year, it's like, no, he's not getting that work. I mean, he could off the 10-day of rest. He is the main back, but Samaje Perine has been there for decades, it feels like, and every year he's just the third down guy. He takes a drive, he gets red zone touches, and you're just sitting there like, I hate this. Can it be him this week? For sure. But again, if you're going to him at the 5K is like probably 5,400.
Yep.
54. I'm just going to play Bijan for 3,400 more, and I'm going to play Jonathan Taylor, and I'll play receiver on my flex. I mean, I'll play Marvin Mims again. The Cowboys ran 50% man coverage. I attacked Bo Nix versus the Giants because of the man coverage rates. Now I get a worse defense that is clearly committed to it because it makes everything easier for everybody. And I'm going to gladly take Marvin Mims again.
What do you take from that Cowboys game last week? Just total Commanders incompetence? Because Dallas did everything that we thought Dallas was going to do, and Washington just couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. Just too many wide receiver injuries, or was there anything that you saw that made things look a little bit better from the Dallas defense side?
Definitely the wide receiver injuries. The Dallas couldn't, like, Dallas was able to just cover that. Like, Robbie Anderson or Chosen Anderson was getting like 6 targets, I think he had, or something crazy.
It was like unbelievable.
Streets like 2 weeks ago for football. Like,
I couldn't believe that.
That's the thing. Like, Jaden Daniel, you're only like, there's not many quarterbacks that are capable of doing it without great weapons. You're watching it with Josh Allen every week now. Josh Allen hasn't been the guy in the last 2 weeks. And it's like, well, he's not throwing downfield anymore. It's like, they don't have a guy to throw downfield to. You watch Justin Herbert, and it's like, oh, Herbert stopped throwing to Josh Palmer and is capable of throwing it to Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey. Like, or Rondé Gadsden is just a very, very good tight end. That was a very good receiving tight end in college, and he outperformed there. So it's like, it's a spot where you need weapons, and Jane Daniels doesn't have it, and that's why the Cowboys look good. And Denver doesn't have the cream of the crop of weapons, but they definitely have much better than what Washington trotted out there.
Totally. So we will talk about that. Also, it's okay to laugh. I see your question. Yeah, they did. We got this note on Sunday, and it was true. It was true. Right?
I was surprised
that somebody came in the YouTube chat on Sunday morning and was talking about a report how the Cowboys were going to play more man coverage, and they had been playing none, essentially. And they did. They really did. They could. But what I will say, I don't think you want to do that this week. I think if there's, and I the crazy thing, as bad as the defense is, the Cowboys are a smartly run team this year. I got to give, like, hand up, couldn't believe they hired Brian Schottenheimer, like, was not my pick of the litter. He's doing a great job, and they're doing smart things. And I think in hindsight and foresight for them, it was smart with all the Commanders wide receiver injuries to just be like, fuck it. chosen Anderson, beat us. Right? Like, go beat us. Zach Ertz against man cover, right? Like rookie Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey, whatever, Chris Moore, beat us that way. And like you said, the weapons just weren't good enough. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Evan Ingram with a run game that's probably going to be fine. I don't think that they want to do that. Now, if you get the first 3 quarters, Bo Nix, anything can happen. All bets are off if you get the first 3 quarters, Bo Nix. But I think that game, we'll talk about it, but I think that game is one of the few that are pretty exciting. Any other running backs? There is still brutal matchup, but the Javonte role is still good. Scatterboo just put up a 30 ball on this team. On this Eagles team, Eagles offense bounced back a little bit, but still.
Jalen Carter wasn't playing.
Yeah.
That's where it's like back. any week Jalen Carter is playing, I am afraid of the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
Both just on the football field and just as a whole. I'm terrified. But they are
going to back out. He's going to spit on you. And if you go to the bar with Jalen Carter and all the defense, it's probably not going to go well. Yeah.
But no,
Rashad, no Bucky. Rashad White against the Saints. Saints struggled a little bit finally in some run defense. Bears getting cooking on the ground, brother. That was an impressive game. Any of them? They play this Ravens defense that has been injury riddled. Any DeAndre Swift, or should we just move on to?
If Lamar plays, I just naturally think the Ravens figure it out this week. Like I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's just like, oh wow, they actually just all. And before the bye week, they played well, I believe. I believe that not against the Texans, but whoever they
played.
Rams. Yeah, they shut down the Rams. That's where
I lost a bunch of fucking money because they actually played well against the Rams.
And they're like also the other fun thing is you had Roquan Smith full participant this week, Ronnie Stanley full participant, Marlon Humphrey didn't practice, but he's focused on hot dogs. So Kyle Hamilton limited and Chidobe full practice. They actually are getting their full team back, which is just wild.
Might be shaping up for a Ravens bet. Need to monitor the Lamar news, obviously, but might be shaping up for a Ravens bet this week. I don't even want to waste nothing else. Woody Marks got banged up right in that game, so just some things of note. I will say for the best ball bags, Saquon was getting the old shoulder check. The trainer underneath the shoulder pad and feeling in on the shoulder, and Saquon's doing the cringe thing on the sideline. I'm not saying that's he went back in the game and played the rest of the game. But if you're right, like somebody has Saquon tagged already here in lineup HQ, I get it, Chop. I totally understand it, but I just kind of think it's over for Saquon. He's going to have a couple good games, I'm sure, at some point. But like those big guys have just gapped the field. Like when objectively, what is the difference between Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley? And one I can play for $6,000 in a good spot, like with Lamar coming back, and the other one I still have to pay $7,600 for at Saquon. Let's see. Oh, we talked a little bit about the Panthers running backs, but just to reiterate for Tommy, you think Dowdle for transparency, Jordan is a Panthers aficionado fan and definitely the most knowledgeable Panthers person that I have ever met. I haven't met very many Panthers aficionados ever, so maybe the bar's not that high, or maybe you're just that good. I don't know, but expect a little bit more, maybe Rico Dowdle, but ultimately still kind of a my drive, your drive situation.
Yeah, they're flipping drives. I think Rico gets the start, and it's just there's no like, oh, this guy's the 2-minute guy. It's just like whoever is supposed to be in there on the 2-minute warning is going to be out there. So it's until they get under $6,000, I'm not touching either. Someone said they got offered Rashad White for Addison. I wouldn't do it personally. I'd rather keep
Bucky's going to be back, right? I mean, I know he's out again this week, but Bucky's going to be back, right?
If you're I didn't realize that he said I thought he said I have Genty and Gibbs on a bye and I was starting Rashad White. No, he's starting Bill and Woody. Yeah, I'd move that. Go get the better player that's going to be better for season long. I totally did not see that you could start Bill and Woody for a week.
If you can survive. Trust me, if you feel uncomfortable with your week 8 starting lineup, a lot of people feel uncomfortable with their week 8 starting lineup. So the scores are going to be low this week. Don't sweat it, right? It feels uncomfortable, but I would rather have Jordan Addison long term, and you'll be fine. Right, it's next week. Genty and Gibbs are back, all good at running back. Don't panic over the one week. Yeah, Woody 10 carries was nice. Woody 15 yards, not so nice. The Texans, man, goodness, we'll talk about them in a little bit as well. Tommy also says it's looking like Sauce is out. So let's use that to sort of pivot over to, and Flyfish wants to shout out the Knicks call. Amen. Shout out to Jordan for bringing up Bo Nix originally. Another good reason why we do the Thursday show and stick to our convictions, because I did stick to the conviction of for the Broncos, and that saved my bacon, as a matter of fact, on Sunday. But let's talk some quarterbacks, because I do find this one to be particularly difficult from an ownership perspective. Right now, I think the field is just throwing their hands up and taking the really, really good real life quarterbacks. Right, yeah. Jalen Hurts had a big game finally last week. I'm not sure I'm relying upon that every single week, but the Eagles passing game is still pretty affordable. Lamar Jackson at just 6,800 if he is back is a pretty nice price, and then Josh Allen is 7,500 against your Carolina Panthers. I will also toss, before we get to Bo Nix, I will toss Baker Mayfield into there because he had been playing at an MVP level prior to last week, and maybe are the injuries getting in the way now? To just, Mike Evans goes down again now, but it is the Saints in the Dome. So what do you think about those four guys?
With this particular slate, with the way, there's so many outs of Baker not being the guy. Just that is price tag for me. I'm just not getting to Baker at all. As far as the top tier guys, Josh Allen I prefer him over Lamar. Even though he doesn't have all the weapons and Carolina's defense has been better. I'm afraid of Lamar's hamstring, and I don't really think Lamar's going to, he's going to run, but he's not. I don't think he is going to get 12 carries. I think it's going to be a quick passing game and just, hey, the Bears can't defend the run. Let's just use you more as a decoy and let Derrick Henry do his thing. Mm-hmm. That actually, Derrick Henry started working against the Rams too. So
yeah.
That's the pathway there. Jalen Hurts, it depends on the Giants' injuries. The Giants' defense, when Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo went out, were atrocious. That is the way the Broncos all of a sudden figured out how to play offense. Guys started getting open because, funny enough, their first-round pick, Dante Banks, got on the field, and then the Broncos just picked him apart. So
it was so funny. It was really funny.
If Paulson doesn't go, and Javon Holland doesn't go, the Eagles are just going to be really hard to go to. Yeah, I'll just play A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts and call it a day. Yeah. Giants play a ton of man. They're probably going to stick to it. A.J. Brown kills man coverage. That's just what his thing is.
Yep. Have you seen practice reports for those guys as of yet?
Wednesday, A.J. Brown didn't practice with a hammy, and then Javon Holland and Adebo did not practice. Okay. And Brian Burns also didn't practice.
Oh, yeah, he got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt in that game, too. I can't believe it took so long for the Broncos to finally start scoring some points. But the 33 points is 33 points. It doesn't matter when they come. I'm with you. Jalen Hurts stands out to me. He is, of course, standing out to the field. So something that we'll have to consider. And if you're jamming all three of them in, I'm not sure you're going to be able to afford any. Jamming all three of the big running backs in, I'm not sure you can even afford Jalen Hurts. So what about as we move down the screen? Is it run it back with Bo Nix is in Coors Field, right? He's playing the Dallas Cowboys. Is it just and literally they're in Denver. They're at elevation. So is it just run it back with the Bo Nix stack again if you want to move down a little bit from that top four?
Yeah, I love Bo Nix. Again, I said that they played man coverage, and obviously the counter is they knew the Commanders' receivers weren't very good. But my counter to that is they didn't run man coverage because they didn't want to run zone. They ran man coverage because the players they currently have are guys that it's just easier. They've had so many lapses in coverage that it's a lot easier for them to be like, hey, just go guard him, please. I don't want you to drop into his own coverage and stare at the quarterback and just let someone throw the ball over your head like they've done all season long. Yeah. And when a defensive coordinator sees, it's like an NBA player, seeing the ball go into the basket. the Cowboys had a good defense all of a sudden. It's like we're gonna try that again at least one more week. And if it doesn't work here, that's when troubles are brewing. So like Bo Nix again, he tried to big play hunt. Marvin Mims did not come up with it on one of the early plays because the sun was just glaring right in his face when he was trying to catch it. Cortland Sutton had a few catches here and there, but it took until the fourth quarter for them again with the 2 injuries. And Cowboys defense, like they can't cover like that. Thrawn Bland's pretty good, but other than that, it's just a very mixed bag on that side of the field. So I do think Bo Nix runs again. Obviously, I talked about that. Like I thought he'd be a little bit more of a runner. They ended up getting 2 rushing touchdowns in that fourth quarter. So I'll be running it back with Bo Nix. And Daniel Jones is a great pivot. Drake May is not. I'm not getting to Drake May. He's been incredible. I want to see him do it against Cleveland. Yeah. Both of those guys are coming in very, very low owned at basically the same price.
Daniel Jones definitely jumps. I kind of like if we don't play the Hurts side of things.
Yeah.
And if we don't play all 3 of the big running backs, I am intrigued by the idea we talked about before of leave JT out, maybe go play Derrick Henry. You're still spending a lot. For Christ's sake, to Christian McCaffrey's 9,000 and Bijan's 8,800, right? You're still spending a lot, right? Maybe you want to play Derrick Henry. I do think Daniel Jones is a fun way to sort of play it where, right? JT is the guy we know is going to score points on a team that's going to score plenty of real life points. But if he just gets right, the dude just keeps scoring like 3 touchdowns a game. And as good as he is, he's not going to score 40 touchdowns, right? Like it's just not going to happen. Maybe he will. I don't know. But there are going to be games where it's a lot more Daniel Jones. Like like week 1, week 2, whatever. JT was fine. I think he did have a big game in one of those. But one of the games he scores like 12 fantasy points because he doesn't get in the end zone. Daniel Jones gets a QB sneak, right? And they throw a couple of touchdowns. This feels like a pretty good spot for Daniel Jones to cook a little bit, even though it's also a good spot for JT. So him and Bo Nix were 2 guys at a little bit lower ownership than a Jalen Hurts that definitely jump out at quarterback.
Yeah, no, it's the under 6K range is it's so gross.
Rough. So that's like, I guess if we have to get down there, because you say, right? We just said Cobra Kai, I'm trying to jam in all 3 of the big 3 running backs. If someone says, I want to, like I said, dude, even if you leave out one and you play Derrick Henry, that's still fucking $24,000 or whatever of your, you still need to save outside of that. Where would one go below 6K on this slate if they needed to?
Flacco is the one that stands out against the Jets. Penix, like I don't really want to go to that because I think Miami secondary is not bad. Like that is one aspect of Miami I will say is not.
How much are they going to throw?
Exactly. And also he's coming off the injury. Not going to Tua. Tua told me he can't see over the offense line this week, which is just
that was so.
He just gets pulled off the podium. They just need to not let him do.
He's like. I don't know if there's basketball fans or if you Michael Porter Jr., MPJ, after he got traded from the Nuggets, went on this like insane podcast run this summer of just saying the most ludicrous shit on every episode. It was like absolutely incredible. That is the Tua press conferences. Just like stop talking. You're saying all the quiet stuff out loud, dude, every week.
Yeah. No, not Rattler. It's Tyrod, if he's fully healthy, which we're just never going to know, was intriguing to me before the nonsense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to Andy Dalton. I can't have the courage to go there.
Some people will say, should we be going to Andy Dalton because he has had some good games in Carolina. You can tell yourself the story of how they're playing from behind, right, to the Buffalo Bills. I'm just not sure it matters. The Bills defense is horrid, and I think the Panthers, you would know better than anyone, but will be able to kind of do what they want, which is run the football against this Bills defense.
We shouldn't be throwing more than 20 times unless we're trailing. Like that's like 25 probably realistic instead of saying 20, but we should not be throwing the ball much against the Bills. We've watched every team in the NFL gash them in the run game. Like Tyler Algier that opening drive against the Bills, and it's like, hey, we know we're going to run the ball, and they're just pounded. And then they just threw it to Drake London. Like, Falcons literally were like, hey, we're going to use our best players every play, and you're not going to stop. Like, they didn't throw to Casey Washington or anything. They just threw to Drake London and gave it to Bijan. But again, like, I can say my original build, actually, like the one that I made, as someone said, like, oh, I'm having a hard time doing it. I was able to fit Bo Nix in with three. And it's gross. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing is appealing about the receivers that we will talk about. But I will say CJ Stroud found a receiver this past weekend. And as long as Christian Kirk is still out, like Jalen Noel looked good. Jaden Higgins did not. Jaden Higgins is just not strong. I that's the only way I could describe it. If you go back and watch, Tariq Woolen dominated him at the line of scrimmage. Just jammed him immediately, and he was falling. He was getting off his. It's like, bro, you're seeing the corner in front of you. Use your hands, like fight something.
And like, he's the big body guy. He's supposed to be the big body. He's not. They didn't draft him this highly because he's some mutant freak athlete who runs a 4.3. They drafted him because he's the big body guy.
He struggled with it in college too. It's just Iowa State didn't play a ton of corners that were actually giving him the business.
Iowa State also does a good job of getting the ball just to their good guys in the right situations and everything too. Really well coached.
Yeah, I love Campbell. I wish he would take a bigger job, but he's probably just not. I think Penn State would be really fun with him.
I think they would finally win at Penn State if he went there. He's like what they hoped Franklin would become.
Yeah. No, that's not. But yeah, no, the Flacco's the only sub 6K quarterback that I have genuine interest in. And it's
Dylan Gabriel. No Dylan Gabriel at 42.
I didn't even do that. No, I'm good. I accidentally exited him out of the pool. I didn't even see that he was.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So Tommy asked what position. We'll move to receiver here because I think that pretty much wraps quarterback. It's a good segue. What we are sort of finding is, as it stands right now, is spending up at running back, right? At a minimum once. For me, Bijan comes preloaded into my teams this week. Full transparency, I am like I think you are too, right? Like a 1 to 3 to 5. Like I don't play a bunch of teams, and so I'm gonna take a hard stance, right? Even if I play like 5 teams, there's usually a couple guys that are in all of them, and then I pivot, right? Like I'll pivot my stack or only pay up for Bijan and then do like Derrick Henry and another cheaper guy or whatever, right? I'll pivot the stuff, but like Bijan's just coming in all of those lineups. So I think we both agree paying up at running back, but also it feels like when you open that up and you're like, I really want to pay up for all these running backs, a lot of the times your brain gravitates to let's get as cheap as I can at quarterback and be like, just play any quarterback who get me 17, right? For as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
I'm sort of finding receiver and tight end to be the spot where I'm like, click and pray, man. But because it's because of the opportunity cost, right? From these quarterbacks, like let's just say even from Flacco, 5,400 up to, I don't know that I'm playing Josh Allen this week. So let's just say to Lamar, it's like, dude, it's 5,400 to 6,800. That's a pretty tight little window there. Yeah. So like people are going to have the spend up guys and one of those quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks, like in a gross week, like you want to talk about gapping the field, the running backs are gapping the field, but this quarterback little window right there, I think can gap like your 12 Tyrod Taylor points are just getting buried by the 35 that want, like one of these guys is going to have a big game and you're just getting buried from a raw points perspective, but I'm not sure that that's happening at wide receiver. So we may be dumpster diving at wide receiver. And where are you starting when you start to look at wide receiver, kind of given that roster construction we're thinking about?
So if you go Bo Nix, like this is Denver's the starting point for me. If you go Bo Nix at the 6K range, and again Marvin Mims is the standout again, I will most likely be writing up his ladder because of the man coverage usage, and also Cowboys getting killed over the top. Like they have been destroyed all season long over the top, and again 2-man coverage teams. The Jets do normally run a ton of man coverage, but obviously he didn't have a great game there. But the other two are the Jets or the Bengals and the Giants. And now all of a sudden the Cowboys are doing it. So I will buy into that. And if you're playing Bo Nix, You could take a shot at Troy Franklin at 4,200, and it's like, oh, I'm double stacked. It's like, hey, both of them just had paid off value, I would say. He did catch a touchdown off a tip pass, but he had 10 targets.
Funny. Yeah.
He is capable. He's a good route runner, and he's not efficient against man coverage just yet, but he is capable of doing it. And Pat Bryant also got on the field quite a bit. I don't think I'd go that route, but he's 3K. And if I were playing Bo Nix in that build, that is the starting point of how I would be building. And then, like I said, alluded to, like Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel is out there, and he looked like, hey, I'm the guy that plays without Christian Kirk. As long as Christian Kirk does not come back from the hamstring, which with his injury history, I just don't. Oh, he's officially inactive, actually. Cool. He said no, sorry, no, I misread that. He sits out practice Wednesday. So I assume
would be shocked.
I would be shocked. So like those three receivers are three receivers that like, okay, cool. Sub 4K, I can see 10. I can if they get in the end zone, I'm getting 16. Those are like the three key receivers, but there's still plenty of other ones that are available. It just depends on what quarterback you're necessarily stacking with.
Right. Which is kind of nice, like specifically for the Bo Nix stack, is that even if you just want to single him or whatever, you want to single him, you want to double him, but use Sutton and Mims or Sutton and Franklin or whatever. Even Sutton is not super expensive, but you always have a cheap guy in your back pocket on the Bo Nix stacks, which is really nice. I do think obviously the most popular quarterback, and we talked about those Giants cornerback concerns. One reason to maybe leave out one of those spend up running backs is the fact that AJ Brown is 6,100 and Devontae Smith is 5,900. The double worked last week, but of course AJ Brown scored twice. Devontae Smith had nearly 200 yards. And if this Saquon thing is real, and if the Giants secondary and Brian Burns are as banged up as it seems, and they're just going to play man and theoretically make the reads a little bit easier for old Jalen Hurts, who is not the world's best processor, I would say. Just AJ Brown down there somewhere is a pretty nice, simple read for him. It's pretty, even at this ownership, it's pretty hard to ignore the Eagles passing game.
Yeah, no, that's where if you're getting to an AJ Brown or Cortland Sutton, you're probably leaving one of the McCaffreys off the board. AJ Brown is my preference. It's just they ran a ton of man coverage 2 weeks ago against Philly. They won. It worked. Jalen Hurts did they brought cover 0 and Jalen Hurts threw it to Jahan Dotson. So it's like, we're probably gonna do that again. That probably would be my selling point to the defense. It's like, hey, we matched up with these guys. We won in the trench, like Abdul Carter or Brian Burns. Like if Brian Burns is out, that means Abdul Carter just plays more. And it's like, oh, cool. Like Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Abdul Carter. Go get them.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
So that Jamar Chase would be, if I jam in the 3 studs, Jamar Chase is without a doubt the scariest person on the slate for me. Like, because way Joe Flacco targeted him. Oh my Lord. And Jets run so much man. And if you're telling me there's no Sauce Gardner, like I called the first game with Jamar Chase. That was fun. That was with what's this or Andy telling me no chance.
Detroit game. Yep.
But he's been incredible lately, and it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. And Higgins also, Higgins did have 10 targets as well. Like if you don't go to the Bo Nix double and you get off one of Taylor or McCaffrey, you could probably fit in Flacco with maybe not. Just looking at the pricing.
Yeah.
It's possible though.
It's that this is the hard part is we would love to play Jamar Chase. We would love to play AJ Brown. We would love to play Christian McCaffrey and Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. It's just in those teams, you can simply just not fit, right? All those guys. You definitely can't fit the Bengals double with 2 of the running backs. And so that's when it starts to become tricky is like, who do we pull out of those? It's because of course we can all see it, but like prioritizing, and Jamar Chase is going to be popular. Jamar Chase is going to be very popular. Should he be? Probably. Yeah. The dude had 23 targets last week. I think that probably means that 8,100 is a reasonable price for him, underpriced, if you will. But it's just tough. I think this week to me screams of we gotta get in the bait. We got to get down in the cellar and find a couple of guys, right? Whether it's Mims or Knoll or whatever. But then it's like roster construction, right? Then it's all like, okay, do I play like this Eagles double? Well, then I can't have CMC, right? Do I play Jamar Chase? Well, now I really can't have all the big spend up running backs that I want, right?
Yeah.
It's like that balancing act of where do I put kind of that last spend up, I guess I would say, right? Like, where do I put that last spend up? Do I spread it out a little bit, right, to like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, or do I go get Jamar Chase with that, or do I play all of the big expensive running backs? Like that's it. That's the slate to me.
Yeah, no, that's where like your Tez Johnsons, your Tremere DK, your Josh Reynolds. I mean, it's gross.
Oh God,
it's gross. But like with the volatility that we see at receiver, with the specific receivers, we didn't mention the stack that I'm now going to just bring up. A Dak stack is still very, 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 very viable here. I don't care that the Broncos defense is good. It doesn't matter. Can they cover that? They've never been matched up. And also, George Pickens killed Pat Surtain last year. Just that I just hit. Like, my memory just jogged. With Justin Fields at quarterback, I'm pretty sure George Pickens had over 100. Just off the top of my head. Because Pickens is a wide receiver. Is it over 100? No. Oh, no. That's what it was. They called him on OPI on a freaking they called him offensive pass interference on a 45-yard touchdown. I was watching that game with my buddy who's a Steelers fan, and he lost his mind when that happened. George Pickens, 2 for 29. But obviously he didn't have CeeDee Lamb next to him. So
right.
Exactly. He and Justin Fields was playing quarterback. So that's impressive. 39 yards or 29 yards with Justin Fields playing quarterback is like 79 yards with Dak playing quarterback for being laws of, action. But it's a week at receiver where I'm like, none of these top guys are appealing. Like Nico Collins, I just would never. I'm not playing a 7,000 Texan this year. I'm just not doing it. I've learned.
Also got a concussion. He also got a concussion. Yes. What do you like? What if he doesn't play? Does it make Higgins at all any more interesting, or is it like Xavier Hutchinson, or is it you're just right? If we have no Nico and no Christian Kirk, what about the Texans?
I go Jalen Noel. He looks like the best receiver. Like he looks like the receiver that they need over the middle of the field that can. He's not Tank Dell. He's not the same player, but he can give them Tank Dell-esque plays on like a crossers and different things that CJ Stroud has been desperately needing. Like CJ Stroud's looked awful every game that Tank Dell hasn't been out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was very bad last year, but he had some good games when Tank Dell was healthy and Nico Collins was healthy. And then he just fell off a cliff as soon as Tank Dell went down, because Tank Dell was such a matchup nightmare for DBs because you couldn't press him because his release package was insane. I got to see that up close and personal at the Senior Bowl. I was raving about him all week, and I had in that again. I don't play the 150s and different things in best ball. I probably should, but I just haven't cared to do it. As for NFL, I do it for college.
An investment, not just monetary. I don't care. I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the time and the effort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's. I do it for college. College, it's fantastic. I think
we're almost to the playoffs in college.
Yeah, I think 62% of the teams advancing because I don't believe in spreading out my portfolio, and I have 70% Emmanuel Henderson from Kansas.
I love it.
He's like the third best receiver in football, and it's been fun. That was I had an ETR randomly tagged me in their Discord and asked me about it, and I was like, this is the guy I'm playing and why, and they're like, all right, and they ranked him, and I'm like, you I was so mad, should have never spoke up, but
that's okay.
Anywho, receiver this week is just like, it's like they're 7-1 George Pickens and 7-8 CD, so it's like a Dak double is very, very like if you're trying to flip the build, that's how I do it.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'm flipping it. I don't want to play Igbokwe either. I know the field wants to.
There just have to be more viable cheap running backs to like who the fuck are we playing at running back? Like, I know who I want to play at wide receiver if I flip the build, right? Chase, CD, Pickens.
You'd probably still play the cheap guys, and you'd probably just go like Bijan and Derrick Henry.
Bijan, Derrick Henry, like double wide receiver spend up, and then wide receiver in the flex, right?
Or tight end.
Double tight end, yeah. Do
That's
something
gross.
like that. Yeah.
I don't think I'm not paying up for defenses the more I've learned this conversation. I can't.
Not this week.
No, I'm playing the Browns at 2,500 and just walking away. But
just every week, just play the Browns. Yeah, that's been my strategy. That worked. That worked quite well last week. Yeah, by the way,
was fantastic.
Just can I get multiple spots to play the Browns defense? That's how how do you jam all these running backs? I would like to play the Browns defense about 3 times. Thank you.
Can I play? Can they just play like go from Tua to Bryce Young to Kyler and just have all the quarterbacks that are not capable of seeing off the offensive line? That's the fantastic way to play defense.
Play the Browns when they play the short quarterbacks because they can't see into the secondary. That's great. What about those Buccaneers? No Mike Evans. Ibuka, I know, like you mentioned, the field is interested in Ibuka. I'm 100% with you. The matchup is great, but the price is not so great. He is, he's almost $1,000 more than AJ Brown.
Yeah,
it's like 600 more than Cortland Sutton. He's priced right next to Pickens and CD. He's close enough to Jamar Chase. He's a very good real life football player, of course. He's dragging his leg around. The offense is not as good. I do think that they are going to bounce back this week because it's at New Orleans against the Saints in the Dome, as opposed to the Lions on the road there. But is Ibuka the way I want to play it? I don't really think so. So would someone like Tez or Sterling Shepard or Cameron Johnson or something like that, would one of those guys be viable?
So Tez Johnson becomes the guy for me. And it has a lot to do with the usage of this past weekend. Ibuka played out wide, which is just
to get Tez onto the field.
Yeah. So like with Ibuka going out wide, Tez and Sterling Shepard basically commanded the slot. And I want to play one of them because they're basically like, it feels like Ibuka got forced to be what they're going to make Chris Godwin. And then with Sterling or Tez, it's like he's kind of towards probably where they're going to use Ibuka. Like they're going to move him in and out of the slot, but he played a little bit of the slot as well. So it's like I would rather play the 4,200 Tez, I believe he's 42 or 43, or the 45 Sterling Shepard. And again, none of this is FanDuel strategy. This is all DraftKings making that.
Tez, you talk about Xing out Dylan Gabriel. When you open up FanDuel, I think you can just X out. I know he scored a couple touchdowns, but he's peak DraftKings style play. Tez.
Yeah, no, none of these guys are FanDuel guys. FanDuel, very different build, but yeah, no, Tez would be the way I'd play it. I'm not touching Ibuka. I also think without Mike and Chris Godwin, the defensive game plan of the Saints is going to be bracketing him everywhere. Like before, you at least had the one that was like countering him. Now you kind of
respected,
don't.
Right? Somebody else to respect. Yeah.
This is, and also with Baker, it's like make him throw to Tez. Like Tez was decent. Like, he had that touchdown last week where what's his face? I think it was the tight end was like fake pretending like he's going to catch a fade while Anzalano is just following around because he's a psychopath. But yeah, no, I'll be playing Tez out of the Tampa Bay receivers.
I like that. Just quick sidebar, because it reminded me of this. Like you're mentioning, when teams don't have extra weapons that the defense respects. It reminds me of basketball just started, right? So I have basketball top of mind, but it's the same thing of like a superstar with no like shooting around him, right? Yeah. So like the defense just packs it in and they're like, sure, right? Jared Vanderbilt, shoot as many 3-pointers as you would like, dude. Like we don't care. And that's what floors me about how JSN is doing this. Cooper Kupp is cooked. Torrey Horton, I'm excited for, but he's rookie Torrey Horton. He's not ready to dominate an NFL defense. Arroyo and Barner, whatever, fine. I know Darnold is playing great and they've schemed things up, but it's like the defense knows this whole fucking thing goes as JSN goes, and they cannot. So he's wide open on every single play. It's like Ibuka is great, right? But you need to be that, right? That's CeeDee Lamb, that's Jamar Chase, that's JSN, Puka, right? These guys have ascended to a level where it just doesn't matter, right? They're going to get schemed up, but also they're so good, they're still going to get open against doubles and brackets and all this kind of stuff. Whereas, right, it's like, have you cleared that bar yet? That's when I'll play you, when you have nobody else around you, right? And I just don't think Ibuka has reached
never
that
been.
level. Yeah,
he
wasn't that
at
in college.
Ohio State, he always had another guy, and he is remarkable. He is an exceptional wide receiver too. That is what his role is in the NFL, and he's going to play for 12, 15 years as long as health allows him to. Exceptionally smart, but no, he's not Puka. He's not JSN. He's not Cooper Kupp. He's not one of the premier guys that have done it at a specific time period where it's like you knew the ball was going to him and it just doesn't matter. But yeah, no, that's
So I need you also. Let's get into some continued deep cuts. That people say I want to jam all these superstars. Let's do some more deep cuts. This is my favorite thing about DFS. Is getting into the super, right? Getting the Marvin Mims, getting the Tez Johnsons, whatever. So along some of those lines, Josh Palmer got hurt, pretty gnarly ankle injury in the Bills last game. Still not practicing. Seems like he's going to be out for a little bit still.
Yeah.
What you heard all offseason from the Slappies would be like, well, what about Elijah Moore? As if Elijah Moore if we haven't had enough of this experiment. His name carries a lot more weight than his game, and there ain't much weight to his name either. But Terrell Shavers, does Terrell Shavers interest anyone here? If Keon theoretically gets a little bit more attention, you have Shakir out of the slot for sure, but Shavers is the guy who can actually do the outside boundary stuff that they have left. That's not Elijah Moore. It's not Curtis Samuel, right? They have a bunch of fucking slot receivers and tight ends and stuff on this team. Shavers got a bunch more work after Palmer got hurt and did get 5 targets, ? Something like that last week. Yeah, five targets. It's not awesome, but I don't know, man. A 3K guy running a bunch of routes attached to Josh Allen on a slate where start searching for value feels interesting to me.
Yeah, Tyrell Shavers was a guy that funny enough, I was super hyped about when he was coming out of high school as an Alabama fan. He was originally on the 2018 Alabama team. He watched Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. Who else we had? We had Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and they were all freshmen and sophomores. So he's like, "We're good. I'm going. I'm out of here." And then he went to Mississippi State.
The reverse JMO. JMO's at Ohio State looking at Ibuka and Olave and Wilson and
Marvin
JSN
Harrison.
and Marvin Harrison. He's like, fuck, man. Like, I'm really good. I'm never going to get on the field.
Yeah, so he ended up leaving to Mississippi State with Mike Leach, but then Mike Leach passed away, so that caused obviously crazy. And then he ended up San Diego State, and now he's been with the Bills for 3 years now, I think. Mm-hmm. He's the person I expect a bit bump in playtime. Kincaid could take away from that because they'll just go more 12 personnel, and when they go 12, they will use Shakir in 12 in this specific scenario, which makes Shakir more intriguing because it's like, oh, he's not just going to be a slot receiver, right? But the problem that I've had is I don't know who Mike Jackson's going to guard. You don't want to throw against J.C. Horn. You just don't want to do it.
He's so good.
It's insane. I am very happy we paid him before this season because it's like, oh, he's been really hurt forever. And
he would have got big time top corner money if he waited one more year.
Oh, yeah. No, it would have been disgusting for me. I would have been very, very sad. And I will say, as a Panthers fan, if he was healthy, we probably would have had a playoff appearance in the last 4 or 5 years. But with the injuries he has, Mike Evans, if we ever play Mike Evans and he's out, just play Mike Evans. Don't even think about it. Mike Evans in one game single-handedly beat us. Like, he had 4 touchdowns and like 180 yards. It was disgusting. I played Mike Evans in DFS that weekend, staring at like
that was the best ball champ. That was fantasy championships. That swung everything. Yeah, he dropped like 55 fantasy points or whatever.
It's ridiculous. But basically, who I think we'll put JC Horn on Keon Coleman. And I think the Bills will just eat that matchup and just be like, just go out there. Just be over there. And we don't care. So Tyrell Shavers, I think, would be the bargain bin. Or if you can find the money, Khalil Shakir. Just because I think he's going to be on the field a lot more than people anticipate.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Yeah, Cody asked about what about the, I know we're touting a lot. There's a lot of Derrick Henry mentions for a show that I'm on, I will say. So it makes me feel a little bit queasy. So let's talk about the Baltimore pass catchers. Like, look, Zay Flowers is 5,400. Bateman that does some Bateman stuff every once in a while. Nuke has one play, 1.5. The over-under is 1.5 insane DeAndre Hopkins catches every single week. He's getting 1. If he gets 2, does he maybe pay off a $4,200 price tag? I don't know. But is there anything with the Ravens pass catchers now that Lamar is back, even though we kind of like Derrick Henry too?
So I'm going to counter both of these with a gross tight end play. Isaiah Likely.
Interesting.
The dude played 80%. He ran 80% of the routes last game. He played more than Mark Andrews last game.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of people were not. It's one of my secret wait a minute. He ran more routes. He ran more.
They were on bye last week. I was.
Sorry, 2 weeks ago.
But that's why it's just that game's out of sight, out of mind.
It slipped the cracks because we only got 2 targets. Isaiah Likely was really good with Lamar for most of the season until some injuries, and then Mark Andrews. Also, if you're going to be pounding Derrick Henry, they go 12. They love going 12. And this is something we haven't seen Lamar Jackson with Isaiah Likely at a full-time clip yet. Because he just came back in that Chiefs game where Lamar got hurt. So it's like they played basically 50. At worst, you're getting 50-50. And for me, I kind of look at it and I'm like, I think if they're going to do this the right way, you flip Bateman and Hopkins and split their timeshare and let Zay Flowers be the full-time guy and play both tight ends. And for me, DFS-wise, how do you afford Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, and Jonathan Taylor? You play a 2,600 Isaiah Likely. That is so. As far as the Baltimore receivers, Bateman's fine. I wouldn't scream for it, but I'm playing a 2,600 Isaiah Likely over a 4,100 Bateman.
I like it. That's a good shout. Couple of quick questions. Yeah, it's gross, but welcome to this week. Everything is gross except for the superstars that we're playing. Every other, half your team, you're going to be like, this is awesome. It's like an auction draft, right? Obviously, which this is a salary cap format. It's like you go into you do a Stars and Scrubs auction draft. You're like, this is sick. I got Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jonathan Taylor or whatever. And it's like, cool. You have a bunch of $1. You have 13 $1 players, right, to round out your roster or whatever. That's what this week is, which is kind of fun. Would you trade Rome, Aaron Jones, and Brees for Jordan Mason, Matthew Golden, and Ibuka? Boy, there's a lot of grossness on this. I don't really want Aaron Jones on any teams. I understand he's coming back, but it was still kind of Jordan Mason as the lead runner before. But so that
I think I do it. It doesn't. Well, no. But
I don't want Brees either. Get me out of the Jets business.
My thing is there's just too much rumor with Brees Hall. I'd rather just hold and see. The value is not going to get any worse.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
not going to get better. It could go way better. Yeah, it could go way better if he gets moved. If the Chiefs trade for Brees Hall, he immediately becomes oh my God, everybody's going to be great. And I would be selling him so fast.
He's still going to play 40% of snaps or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to rotate.
but it would be exciting. And then you could sell, right?
For a lot more.
You could for King's fucking ransom, dude. We've been chasing this mythical running back on the Chiefs for since Kareem Hunt, and
and he's still there.
Right. The CEH went at the 1-2 turn as a rookie, and that dude was terrible. But we've been chasing this Chiefs thing. So I don't actually think he's going to get traded to the Chiefs, but crazier things have happened, and they're very, very good. They could feel like
they need a running back
and some form of juice in that backfield. And I know we're excited for Brashard Smith, but I've said this like a million times. Brashard Smith is like a football player I want on my team. He's a really fun player to have on your offense. You just can't build your run game out of Brashard Smith. No, it's just not how it works.
And the thing is the Chiefs recognize a run game sucks, which is why they throw so many screens. And by the way, I didn't play Rashee Rice in my lineup, and I got hurt by touchdowns as well.
I didn't play Judkins or Rashee Rice, and I was like not far from shipping tournaments. So that tilt of like, dude, just just do one little pivot and you like win hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, no, I played Saquon Barkley, so it didn't matter. I didn't have that chance. That shipping chance.
Luke McCaffrey. I got fifth in the 1K queue with Luke McCaffrey and Bill, and no Judkins or Rice.
Yeah, thanks, Smart. Dude, I was always on Bo Nix was such a fun time. It was cool. Awesome. I almost got to like cash and different things, but Bo Nix
it was a real roller coaster though. It was that was Undertaker.gif in the fourth quarter. It was like I felt dead and buried for 3 hours, and then we got that fun. It made it worth it.
There, it's all good. But other receivers, I would say, bargain of bins that you could die for. They really get. When Andy Dalton came in, it was just like giving him the ball. I don't care. We're throwing it to him. He's 4K. It's gross. It doesn't feel great. But hypothetically, we did see him get all of a sudden the best game of his career as soon as Bryce Young got hurt, which is fun. Like he literally had, I think, 60 yards. You're getting the Egbuka side? Yeah, no, I know you'd be getting the Egbuka side, but I'd rather just hold for Brees for a little bit. That's all. But continuing in with this, I wish I could say Luther Burden, but I can't yet. No. Still can't do that. Colson Loveland, I can say. He all of a sudden ran 63% of the routes, which is fantastic to say the least. Trying to think of any other bargain bins.
Jets, if Garrett Wilson misses again.
Yeah, you could go Jets. You could go Garrett Wilson. You could go Josh Reynolds. Or sorry, not Garrett Wilson. You could go Josh Reynolds, or you could go. No, I'm not playing Allen Lazard. I don't have the audacity to say it out loud.
What?
I almost said it. I almost did. Josh Reynolds had 9 targets.
Arian Smith and Josh Reynolds ran all the routes.
Yeah.
For an NFL football team in the year of our Lord, 2025.
Oh, yeah.
That's disgusting.
It's absolutely hilarious, to be honest. Like, I think that is the best. Rashid Shaheed at 4,700 is always a fun time.
What about this? The Olave finally has a 2 touchdown game. The prayer yards convert into real yards against the Bears. He's priced up a little bit now, but I don't want to do the Rattler thing, but can you do some of these Saints wide receivers to save a couple bucks?
Yeah, you could. I feel like you could go Rattler this week with the way the slate's built.
Yeah,
and double, like you could try to go Bo Nix and Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims. You could go Rattler with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, and it doesn't feel good at all, but it's also like you look at the Buccaneers and they've been very good. I will like top to bottom, but both Olave and Shaheed get into the slot a ton, and they had plenty of issues covering the slot, whether it was Khalif Raymond, whether it was Amon-Ra. Like they had some serious issues they're really good on the boundary, but in the slot, they've been absolutely terrible.
Dude, Amon-Ra, go back and look at, cause I bet Amon-Ra overs and stuff, and I can just go back. I won't pull it up and bore people any more than I already have. The Amon-Ra game logs, like you want to talk about like BVP in like baseball. Amon-Ra versus Todd Bowles is like a fucking feeding frenzy, dude. He was averaging like 15 targets a game heading into the game the other night. It's just like he just completely and utterly destroys that defense. So
yeah, it's a slot. So Todd Bowles' scheme, they rush 5, they blitz a ton. That is what they do. And when and they play cover 1 behind it. Or cover 3. But this year they're playing a lot more cover 1, and they're actually mixing in some cover 2, which is crazy. And they're funny enough, they're taking Vita Vea and Greg Gaines, and they are flipping them out to the flats. And they actually intercepted Mac Jones on that play because he couldn't throw to Christian McCaffrey because Vita Vea was in the passing lane. And that is not like you're seeing like, and then Mac Jones just got drilled, sack fumbled actually on that play because the corners blitzed and they went through. Like Todd Bowles has adapted a little bit in that game in particular. The problem that they had was the offense couldn't do anything. So like the first drive, he played his old defense and then he started to implement his new things and they slowed him down a little bit. But at one point they ran out of new things and then they just got gashed. I usually love J-Mo in those games against Tampa. This is the first year that I didn't do it. And also the first year he sucked. So felt, I feel bad for J-Mo. Everybody thinks he's not a very good football player. And it's more about they can't block long enough for him to be the guy. They don't trust their O-line because Taylor Decker's out. And they don't trust their rookies to hold up like they did last season. And until those guys showcase it, they're not going to take deep shots with J-Mo. It's unfortunate. Just
makes a ton of sense.
Sad for those people.
I am those people.
I love J-Mo.
J-Mo is one of my guys. That's a St. Louis boy. Come on. There was somebody else I was going to bring up. So in the last game, where the Giants beat the Eagles, and we like the Eagles passing game. Here in this one, it does sound like Darius Slayton is going to be back this week. He's of course not in the projections yet, but I believe he's going to be back. So let's say the Eagles passing game does have some success. Can you play Wandale or Slayton, or I guess Theo Johnson or whatever, as a bring back, or is it just Scadaboo's offense and we don't really care about anybody else?
I think you could play Wandale or it basically depends on if they put a Dory Jackson out there. Like, we're not a Dory Jackson. If whoever Quinyon Mitchell is not covering.
Right.
It's the tail of the same thing with the Panthers. I don't think I like Scadaboo because Jalen Carter's back. And then when you think about like Darius Slayton's 4-3. I don't think I'd pay 4-3 for
No.
As gross as that sounds, I might. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm going because I'm playing Tez over him. I'm playing Leggett over him.
Leggett,
Mims, and
Franklin. Yeah.
So I don't think I'd go that route, but I wanted to see one thing he played. No, he didn't play enough. Yeah. Little Jordan Humphrey is a fun one, but I'm not. Is he hurt?
I don't know, but he only got one target last week.
He just played 90% of the snaps. He had 8 targets.
they were all of the receivers were out there wind sprinting as the Giants prayed to God the clock was going to run out in the fourth quarter. They were just like, please God, let's run, keep this clock going, hold on to this lead. And it went about as poorly as that usually does when you play not to lose as opposed to win. I talked about, and frankly, on both sides of this game, you mentioned Chimere DK, but also so in a dome, Colts are somehow one of the best offenses in the NFL against one of the worst. Yeah, Daniel Jones throwing to Alec Pierce, right, is just lighting up the world. But this sort of game stack is pretty affordable. I don't know if Calvin Ridley is going to be back. I haven't checked that yet, but DK caught the long touchdown, and yes, I mean DK, not like Chimere DK, not DK Metcalf. And Io Manor, who I thought was maybe going to pop up to do something, did jack shit. But they cut Tyler Lockett. So it's Van Jefferson and co stepping in there. Michael Pittman is the most expensive wide receiver in this game. Josh Downs, I think, will be back, but he missed last week with a question mark, with a concussion. So, but you could do a little Daniel Jones double with a bring back or something here and get your expensive running backs like we talked about, and it's really not that difficult. So anything amongst the wide receivers in this game, and then I think we can probably do tight end.
Yeah, so the tight ends are playing a ton of zone coverage this season. So or over the last 2 weeks, I would say they're just not playing man anymore. They're this new, like, Mike McCoy, who's now the head coach. It's just like, all right, we're gonna just play simple zones. Like we're not gonna get beat over the top like we were. And funny enough, when it comes to yardage against zone coverage, what's his face? Tyler Warren is 5th in the NFL.
Ooh.
He is literally inevitable. Dude is he just catches the ball in space and just goes burr pretty much. Alec Pierce isn't good against zone. He could get the deep ball, which is what I would target when I play a Daniel Jones stack, but I wouldn't want to solo him. I'd rather just find a way to Tyler Warren at his salary. Michael Pittman's pretty good against zone. Both of them combined for like 45% of the target share, but you're not getting a ton of like big plays with either. So it's like it's kind of tough. It makes Jonathan Taylor more appealing.
Yeah. And Lil Jordan, this is generally what tends to happen with the practice squad guys, is they kind of bounce back and forth until their limit runs up.
It depends on Darius Slayton being healthy too.
If Slayton is back, I don't think they'll bring Lil Jordan Humphrey back to the active roster. So it's a Slayton. That sums up this slate. I think the fact that we're digging into Lil Jordan Humphrey's practice squad. Probably is he even eligible to come back up? Are they going to call him back up? If that doesn't summarize what we have to do on this slate at the wide receiver position, then I don't know what does. You've mentioned some tight ends along the way, but just anything at wide receiver before we dive into tight end.
49ers, like Jawan Jennings and Bourne are fine. Jennings would be preference. I know he's playing with broken ribs. Texans they hit very, very, very hard, so it scared me a little bit. And then Kashawn Boutte and Demario Douglas are fine. Diggs is going to be very popular from what I've seen touting wise because of his numbers against man coverage. The Browns are a different team when it comes to man coverage because they get pressure so fast. Drake May is going to have to do some Houdini stuff to avoid Mason Graham and Myles Garrett coming after him to get it to Diggs. So I think it's more of a Demario Douglas or like style of game personally.
Yep, that makes a ton of sense to me. I will say, look, Drake May is balling. The Patriots look good. I really like Drake May. No, this ain't the week for me. I respect this Browns defense too much. I think, like you mentioned this, the only team to really kind of cook this Browns defense was Rodgers. And that was like such a Rodgers thing, right? Where it's like, well, he's taller than 6 foot, so he can see down the field. And B, that's what he does. He cooks up man coverage. So like their pass rush, like you said, their pass rush gets there quick. They couldn't get there quick enough for Rodgers because he just
he knew. He knew exactly where the safety's going.
He knows where the ball is going before it's snapped on every single play. And that I love Drake May, but that ain't Drake. That ain't Drake May, and it certainly was not Tua, and it's not those guys. So it's a big deal, I think, at the wide receiver position. Yeah. All right, you've mentioned some gross tight ends. We've mentioned some good tight ends, like Tyler Warren. Where does your tight end slate kind of start?
Never playing Jake Ferguson at 6K. Cool, call it quits. If someone plays him, good for them. Hope he does wonders. I would never be playing him. That's the top tier tight ends. The only guys, like Tyler Warren, obviously, like I said, very good against man coverage or zone. I don't know if I can get there on this particular slate. He would be the pay up option for me.
He needs to do more, don't you think? On this at 5,500 with with where we want to allocate our money, we can't do the like. And like 18 is great.
16, no.
Yeah, 16, 18 is great. Like I need 28, not 18.
Yeah, that's where it's like you go and then it's like, okay, so he can't like paying off is tough, then it's okay, Kittle. I don't like Kittle yet. And the reason I don't is because Houston is a secondary that, like, I don't know if Kittle's going to be, or sorry, Houston's a pass rush. Kittle's going to be a blocker. He is going to be used as a blocker in this matchup because Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are terrifying. They're going to let Trent Williams play one-on-one with whoever on that side of the field. And Kittle's going to be chipping. He's going to be just max protecting. And they're going to try to win with McCaffrey and the ancillary wide receivers to get it done. So the tight end position, if again, Warren, I like him because of the zone coverage. I don't know if you're right. I don't know if I'm getting to him. I'm not playing a 12% owned Kittle in this particular slate. Dalton Kincaid is the one that stands out as long as he's back. Panthers have been really bad against tight ends, even when we've been this decent defense. Mason Taylor didn't do it. Call me crazy. The team that had negative 10 passing yards in the game, whatever. I don't care that the Jets weren't able to get it done. I think Kincaid is in a fantastic matchup, and the only tight end over 4K that I would like, this guy can smash and just not getting played by the field.
One thing I wanted to note on Kincaid, because I was going to bring him up if you didn't. Obviously, this is not filtered for any routes or targets or whatever. So you see Brendan Bates. I don't even know who the fuck Brendan Bates is out Houston. And James Mitchell. Oh, shout out to the Panthers showing up at the top of the.
That's our fourth tight end on this list.
Fourth, a lot of Panthers tight ends. But if I were to filter out the guys who ran 7 and 4 routes or whatever on the season, you see a fine young gentleman sitting at the very top of the efficiency from a per route perspective of tight ends, and it is Dalton Kincaid. It is not Tyler Warren. It is not Tucker Kraft. It is not Brock Bowers. It is not Trey McBride, right? Those guys are great. It's not Jake Ferguson. It is Dalton Kincaid. And if this Palmer injury, right, like you mentioned with Likely and Andrews been playing more 12. Well, if the Bills want to come out and play more 12 without, God bless Tyrell Shavers, but there's not some rule that we got to play him a bunch just because Josh Palmer is out, even though I like him. If I can get to Kincaid, he does feel pretty good given how many targets he earns when he's out there and the potential to be right. His issue is being out there and running routes more because of the fact that they don't play enough 12 personnel. They play plenty, but to get the total huge game we need, I think we need a little bit more. And this week could be that week that we do see it finally.
Yeah, no, I think Kincaid is again, tight end. I don't love looking at ownership at this point in the week because it doesn't really matter. But at this point in the week, if you're telling me Kittle's going to be 4 times more owned than Kincaid, give me Kincaid any day of the entire week. But I'm just not looking forward to playing the 4K tight ends. I wouldn't be playing. Well, Evan Ingram's fine. Yeah, if you're playing a Bo Nix and you find yourself a 4,100 laying over, and
he's
Evan
just
Ingram's
so
there,
fucking useless. He's just so useless.
He's just out
there. He's out there. That's it. You're right. Yeah, he's out there and he's playing the Dallas Cowboys, which is if you're,
I would never play him single. You would never touch my lineup without a Bo Nix stack. It has to be correlated.
I actually like him in in a game stack too, where it's no, this shit is shooting out. Bo Nix is throwing 50 times again, right? Because Dak threw 2 long touchdowns to CD or whatever. You can't just play a one-off 41. No. Evan Ingram, I don't think.
No. He does not make
Kyle Pitts, 13% ownership almost here on this one.
Why?
I don't think I can do that one either. But Tommy mentions that Jackson Dart likes his tight ends. He has gone to Theo Johnson quite a bit with their lack of, no Malik Neighbors, a lack of weapons.
I like Theo Johnson this week as well. The main reasoning with the for Theo is obviously, yes, he does target tight ends. Theo plays a ton. The Eagles are so desperate at pass rush right now that Jahad Campbell is being an edge rusher again, like he was at Alabama for a little bit. And they now have their Nakobe Dean is being used in coverage because Bond is their linebacking core and edge rushers are a mess right now. That is
because Hawk had a big game, or should have had a big game last week, right?
Oh, he caught the touchdown, but
dropped the touchdown. Yeah,
he didn't have a ton of work, I don't think. But no, he did. I mean, nine targets. That's a lot.
40 pass attempts, but still 9 targets. Yeah.
Wide receiver 2 against Philly. It's always a thing. Is what I'm learning every week. And
Addison straight cooking.
But Giants don't have a wide receiver 2, so I can't.
They barely have a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, that's it. Where's Malik Neighbors when you need him? But yeah, no, Theo's fine. Theo's a good play at that price and that ownership. Again, Kyle Pitts being 3,900 is just the people who are afraid to play Bijan for some reason.
Yeah. You say that Atlanta's going to score. That is the interesting part of like how tournaments and stuff will go. Like in the days of Sims now, is the non-Bijan teams from a sim perspective will say, well, the Falcons are still going to score a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And how do I get away from a chalky Bijan? It's like, well, if London isn't going to be super popular, or if Pitts aren't going to be super popular, or then I can play Penix, right? It's like non-Bijan teams have a disproportionate amount of Kyle Pitts on them, right? And I'm not saying to play Kyle Pitts on Bijan teams. I'm just saying, like you said, why does the Kyle Pitts ownership come in like this? Is because you run the Sims, right? It's like, okay, Bijan comes in X amount of lineups, and then non-Bijan lineups that sim well still have Falcons on them. And there's only 2 other Falcons that you can reasonably play. And one of them happens to be a tight end where, right, as we know, is not a very good position.
Yeah, that's fair. And then outside of, like, I'm not playing Mark Andrews at 13%. I'm playing Isaiah Likely. Like, I will gladly play Isaiah Likely. If Tyrod Taylor's starting, I'll be fine with Mason Taylor as well. I'll go back to that at 35. It's okay. Tyrod won't hurt me as much as Justin Fields can.
I can't believe Tyrod Taylor is starting not because of an injury in the middle of this season. That is just wow, wild. But one guy who is benefiting from some injuries, who I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I did play K-Dot a couple weeks ago. I think it was like maybe Seattle. I don't remember. It
was a Baker week, I think. Yeah, I think it was. Because you were into that Seattle Sam Darnold game.
Yeah, and because the Baker doubles with JSN felt pretty nice. As usual, I fucked up that slate. But this, so he's K-Dot 9 targets, 6 targets, 5 targets, pretty nice. But if we want to save at the tight end position and still get access to this Bucks passing game where we don't have to, like someone says, I don't really want, do I have to play Tez Johnson? Like someone says that too. I'll never get that run that Otten had, specifically the one game where he had like 16 targets or whatever it was last year, like out of my brain, that when things break down for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? All these, Godwin out, Evans out, Abuka with the hamstring injury. It's like they just go to Cade. They feel comfortable going to more Cade Otton. And this is a Bucks spot that I would like to get to, right? Why is Tez appealing?
Yeah.
Well, why did we talk about Abuka so much? Is because I do think that, like, in the dome against the Saints after a bad game, right? Baker has his worst game of the season. It's a really good bounce back spot for the Bucks. It's just like, how do I get there? I do kind of think Cade Otton is the guy for me.
The only thing that I'm deterred from is just the ownership. I think that's like, if Cade was 3, if you like, because to me, I feel like I'm surprised that more people don't like Njoku. Probably, I guess the injury is probably factoring in, but it's like
everybody loves Fannin. Everybody is all of a sudden a Harold Fannin guy.
I'm not. I'm still not. I can't do it.
crazy.
I like Gadsden more than him.
That's a good.
That was like my thing when I.
They would be awesome on the same team in 12. Like, you want to play 12, like, because they're so. Fannin's like bully ball, and Gadsden is like a receiver, right? Like a slot receiver.
You play him on the perimeter too. That dude's insane. I mean, his dad was really good at it too. But it's funny, his dad benched him in fantasy, and since he's benched him in fantasy, he's been incredible. And he's like, I'm not allowed to put him in the lineup yet until he has a bad game. I'm not putting him in. Like,
intentionally losing his fantasy league so his kid can put up. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a funny story. But Dalton Schultz was cool last week. I don't think I would go back there again at 33. Like, he was cool against Seattle. But that was also like none of the receivers were winning outside of Jalen Noel. Like, maybe the receivers win and he doesn't just walk into. I remember when he was Jake Ferguson. It was a fun time.
Yep.
That was just a random thought.
Remember Blake Jarwin, who was supposed to be Jake Ferguson and was supposed to be Jake Ferguson. Dalton Schultz became Jake Ferguson, and then Jake Ferguson became Jake Ferguson.
Yeah. I'm not playing Juwan Johnson. Taysom Hill still scares me.
He's banged up also.
Yeah, this is where like Colson Loveland stands out. Colson Loveland and Isaiah Likely are the two standout options. I'm not playing Julian Hill. Nobody could beg me to play that at 2,700 without Darren Waller.
Waller's out, yeah.
I'm good. I will not do that. I will play Colson Loveland and Isaiah Likely this week at tight end is what I just learned. 3K and 2,600. Sign me up. This is how I afford the big guys. He does not. Stats don't look great for Colson Loveland. No good stats. But route run participation, he lapped Cole Kmet this past week. He had like 67% of the routes against the Saints, which is all I needed to see.
Yeah.
He lapped him. Yeah. I know it's not a ton of passing, but he literally ran 17 routes.
Right. They didn't throw.
Yeah. They didn't need to. Against the Saints. They just
4 targets. Ran. 4 of 23 targets. Yeah, like you said, Rand, call it 67% of the routes. DJ Moore continues to get banged up. Seems like he's just going to keep playing every single week, but like, is there does more of the offense shift to the rookies? But we're hoping for Burden, but could it be Loveland? Right? I mean, the dude was a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he was picked over Tyler Warren.
Yeah, they drafted him over Tyler Warren. We need to get this show on the road here sometime soon.
Like, I mean, he had a 15% target share. Like, he had 10% in week 3. He's had a 10% or more target share in the last 3 weeks, and the last 3 games he's played.
They're going to throw this week, right? Like if you
Derrick Henry,
you got Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry on the one side running for 150 and 2, doing the Derrick Henry thing with Lamar back, right? Like the Ravens are going to score points. Yeah. Again, this is assuming if we're talking about Tyler Huntley or Cooper Rush, the conversation changes, but they're going to have to throw more. So if you just maintain that 15, right? Like Jake Ferguson has like a 15% target share and he's the tight end 1 on the season. It's like if you get, and I mean 15% target share when everyone's healthy, I understand it's different when CD's not out there, but like if you just get passing volume because you need to throw to keep up with the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's a basically full-time tight end, and look, he tied DJ Moore he was second on the team in targets.
Yeah.
Behind Rome. If you get that carrying over, but now we get 40 something pass attempts instead of 23, like, his ownership is way too low.
Yeah.
Anybody else at tight end before we wrap with some defenses?
No, I think Isaiah Likely and Colson Loveland are gross enough. I'm not playing Taysom Hill, but he's cool.
Dude, what did Daniel Bellinger finish with? He caught the early touchdown, and then somebody was saying Dart caught his. He caught another long one too. I was like, he scored the first touchdown of that game, and I was like, what? And then he caught another like 40-yard pass. I'm like, when the hell did Daniel Bellinger become the focal point of the Giants offense? Just quickly to note, you mentioned Isaiah Likely and earlier, kind of when we talked about the Ravens. Yeah, 2,600 on DraftKings, projecting for 0.68% ownership. So the great thing about some of these tight ends, like you brought up, is like comparing it to the K. Dottons and the Dalton Schultzes and the Kyle Pitts and whatever, this is a great way to like, look, playing Bijan and playing CMC and playing whatever, Jamar Chase is not going to be profound. Right. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people are going to want to do that. A lot of people are going to want to go to stars and scrubs. So how do you kind of beat those is find the cheap tight end that no one's playing that's really undervalued. It's like super undervalued. And those two are really good options.
Yeah. No, Isaiah Likely is like again, tight end position is gross. It is always usually pretty gross because tight ends just don't get a lot of work. I've seen Isaiah Likely go for over 100 yards in multiple games in his career, and then I've seen him go for 50 and stuff, and it's like, why can't, like, didn't Jake Ferguson catch 19 passes or something absolutely insane against the Bears in that crazy big comeback?
Yeah.
He had 13 catches. He had 13 catches for 82 yards. Like, Isaiah Likely is not going to get probably 15 targets, but if Derrick Henry's super popular and you're getting different, it's like Derrick Henry doesn't get those goal line touchdowns and runs for 125 yards, and everybody's like, you got me 15. But then McCaffrey, Taylor, and Bijan go for 40. It's like, we're good. we're lapping the field.
Just before we do defense and wrap up, how many teams would you have to build, or would it just be like on a main team before you get to the double punt tight end? And like comparing double punt tight end to jamming three high, right? We're talking about jamming the three big guys or 2 plus Derrick Henry or something like that, right? That's where we would like to get.
Yeah.
But if you can't, or if you want to spend up at wide receiver, you want Jamar Chase, right? Or you want someone like that. You want the Eagles double, right? You want the Eagles double and you want Bijan. It's like, okay, well, we don't have that much salary left.
Yeah.
Would you double punt tight end or just stick to the cheap, to the Tez and the wide receivers? Which would you prefer?
Because it would basically depend on the quarterback. So if you're playing the AJ Brown, I would like the double punt to tight end because you get the AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. If you're playing Joe Flacco, I want T. Higgins and Jamar Chase because both of them can do it at the same time. I would double punt tight end with that to get like Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. Like you just have the both of them plus Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and it's like then you have to play a Marvin Mims, but then you just get Likely and you play. You could play Mason Taylor. You could play Kate Otten. Like you play one of the really, really, really cheap options. Heck, you could even just go Noah Fant and not get one of the T. Higgins, and just be like, it's doubled. And I have a gross Isaiah Likely staring at me, but that's how Derrick Henry fails. And I got to Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, and Bijan.
And then if you play Knicks, right, Nix or something like that, then it's maybe not the tight because you're using Mims
and you could use Franklin,
right? Yeah. I like that. Kind of letting your quarterback kind of dictate whether it's the right, because we're going to get that question. I haven't run the Sims. I try not to look at it too much on Thursdays, and because you want to talk about something like it's so ownership dependent, and ownership is just wrong on Thursdays. That what sims well today is going to not necessarily going to sim well at the end of the week, but. We're going to get that question. It's like, is it a 3 running back week, or is it a 4 wide receiver week, or is it a double punt tight end week, or is it whatever? Last week, if I recall, it wasn't double punt tight end, but like every tight end went nuts last week. It was crazy. And the winning Millie Maker team was McBride and Ferguson, I think, or something like that, which was insane, which I would like 2 5K range tight ends shipped the slate. It was a wild slate. But let's talk defense, our bread and butter. We always wait for about 2 hours to get into really where we can sink our teeth into the defenses. I almost start a slate opening up and going and see what terrible fucking price DraftKings put on the Browns every single week, because it's like outside of that Steelers matchup, they're one of the best defenses in the league. They're one of the best fantasy defenses in the league because of the pressure and the takeaways. And they're 2,500, and they're just like never as owned as they should be either. So like they just naturally jump out to me. I assume you like them as well, but what else at defense?
Yeah, the Browns are definitely the starting point in the 49ers at 29 against the Texans. They're an easy jump out to me. Let's see. Honestly, the 49ers and the Ravens. I know the Ravens have been terrible on defense, but like that Saints game, Caleb tried to turn over the ball every time it felt like he tried to throw the ball. So like I mean, they're like, I'm not playing the Panthers against Josh Allen, not playing the Dolphins, not playing the Giants. No, if Paulson Adebo doesn't go and Javon Holland are out, I'm not playing the Giants.
Right.
Like the only team that stands out from 2,500 and under is the Browns. Like that's the only team. Like the Jets, I'm not getting to. I'm good.
And you just cannot, like, I understand. So what keeps happening, which has been a huge, I think why the defense thing has been so impactful. Like a lot of like my good weeks have been like, of course it helps when the defense like really puts up a big number, like the Vikings a while back, and the Browns this week put up 25 or 26 or something. That's huge, right? But what's also been part of it is the pricing and just the way that projections work for defenses have had these dog shit defenses that are 2,000, 2,100, right? It's the Titans and the Saints and the Bengals. And like some of those defenses are constantly really popular every single week because it's like, right, when you just run an optimizer or you run some sims, it's like, I don't know, the $2,000 defense that projects for 5, what's the difference between them and the $3,200 defense that projects for 7? Right? It's like, just get the savings, but that isn't taking into account, like, more often than not, this Titans defense probably scores negative, and they have zero outs to winning you the slate. The only way that the Titans and the Panthers are a little bit different, but it is Josh Allen. Or the Bengals, like maybe the Bengals, I guess, this week because it's the Jets. But these really, really bad defenses, the only way that they win you the slate is by no defense doing anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bet against the position. And I like to bet on the opposite of that. I'd be like, I'm going to get the one that scores 20. You can play that team you're hoping for 4. Right? Like, I'm going to find the 20. And that's why we like the Browns and teams like that.
Yeah, the teams. I don't think I'll have the salary to pay up for the Patriots against Dylan Gabriel. Like, I don't think I'll have the ability to go. You know, I don't really want to play the Falcons actually against the Dolphins. I still think in a dome, like, they could be a productive offense.
The Falcons' pass rush hasn't been as good as I thought it was going to be after the first couple of weeks. I think they're a good defense, but the pass rush is just like pretty meh.
Oh, that was the other thing. And my brother, again, he's a Falcons fan. I'm a Panthers fan, so it's always a fun battle of misery. But
fun year to be those actual, like, feels like significant for the first time in a while.
Yeah, he sent me when they beat the Bills. When they beat the Bills, he sent me a tweet about Jeff Ulbrich, because Jeff Ulbrich took over as a DC for the Falcons. They fired Jimmy Lake. Jeff Ulbrich is I've got to meet him at the Senior Bowl. Dude is insane, like, just insanely, like, structured. Obviously his kid's an idiot with the way he did the Shador thing, but he dominates Josh Allen.
Interesting.
Josh, like, it is weird because he was with the Jets.
He was with the Jets. About that.
Josh Allen in his career, or Josh Allen's last 3 games with 2 interceptions and being sacked 4 times. 2025 Jets, or 2022 Jets, 2023 Jets, and 2025 Falcons, all defensive coordinated by Jeff Ulbrich.
That's crazy.
Ulbrich is a guy. So I think he's a great defensive coordinator, but I think that this week in particular, the Dolphins in Dome will be much better than that weather. that was a terrible, terrible time for everybody involved. And the only top tier defense I think I'd like, maybe the Bucks. It's in a Dome. It doesn't feel great.
Rattler. Yeah.
The Bills, Andy Dalton could suck. Like, if the Panthers, if Josh Allen takes a lead and the Panthers are forced to throw the football, Andy Dalton.
That Bills defense is so bad. That Bills defense is so bad. My gosh, I can't believe how bad. I didn't think it was going to be great heading into the season. This is rough.
But I can't see myself getting over the 49ers. That's I'm just talking myself more and more of just like, I'm just going to play the 49ers. Like, I know Fred Warner stuff's bad, but
I think it's just 49ers or Browns. Like, I'm not even sure I'm, like, looking at the rest of this other stuff.
Same.
Yeah, Baltimore. I guess I would put, if Baltimore gets back healthy.
Yeah.
If all these guys play, and like, I need the 100, right? It's like, I know that sounds silly, but, like, we're pinching some fucking pennies this week to get the guys that we want to get. Like, I really need the 100. I think Baltimore is fine against Caleb. Caleb can, it's Caleb.
Caleb could turn the ball over.
He can do some crazy.
It's not like Tua turned the ball over, but he's Caleb.
Yeah, exactly.
I also found just a fun one. I don't sharing lamps, whatever. Like, I was able to get to a Flacco build where I have the money for Derrick Henry or T. Higgins at the flex, and I'm staring at it like, oh, that's tough.
Oh wow, that is tough.
But I have McCaffrey, or I had Jonathan Taylor and B. That's where it's fun. I had McCaffrey, and I just went to Jonathan Taylor, so now I don't even have to think about Derrick Henry. I could just play T. Higgins at 56 and just double it. It's actually it's such an intriguing week.
It really is.
The jam and the stud.
I'm excited for this week because it's one of those. It feels like I know what I like, but how do I put the puzzles right? It's like this. I bought the puzzle. I know what the fuck it looks like because it's on the cover of the box, right? Like I know what I'm not saying I'm gonna do the right. I'm gonna play the right. I'm not saying what I like is correct, but what I'm saying is I know the puzzle pieces and I know what the end result looks like. How do I put it all together? I have no idea. Like I haven't really started to build teams, but I'm excited to the rest of the day to be like,
battlefields feel dead.
Yeah, dude. If you don't pay up anywhere and you just play a bunch of the Olaves and like I guess the caveat would be like the Eagles double stack, but like even then, like I'm still gonna probably have Bijan.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can get him. It's like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are 6K. Like it's not that prohibitive. Like I said, if I'm just living around 6,000 across the board, I don't really see how that wins. But like, do you jam 3 running backs, or do you do the double punt tight end, or do you do multiple punt wide receivers? Right. Do you go down to Flacco at quarterback, or do you go to Hurts or Lamar or whatever? Like that seems like a lot of fun to me to try to figure that one out. So I'm excited to see how it goes. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, nothing else. I mean,
let's do a Thursday. We always do a flag plant at the end of the Sunday show, and I want to see if it changes because last week it would not have.
No.
Right? Last week you were adamant about the Broncos. I agreed with you that stayed on into Sunday. I unfortunately added Luke McCaffrey to the flag plants on Sunday. We are 2 for 7. I know. I tried it. I should have just taken it. We got cute with it. 2 out of 7 weeks with the flag plant of a fucking goose egg is really incredible stuff. I'm going to see if I can get to about a 30% hit rate of zeros on flag plants. But seeing how it compares Thursday to Sunday, I think will be fun. What would it be for you right now?
Right now, it's Marvin Mims. Flag planting Marvin Mims. He's averaged over 4 yards per route run against man coverage in his career. Yes, the Cowboys could revert to zone heavy usage. That's fine as well. They got beat over the top plenty throughout the season for him to get deep targets. I think that will be where I stay, and just kind of like that is how I get to the 3 running back build. That is the way I find my pathway.
I think it's tempting to do one of the cheap wide receivers, but Mims is also my favorite guy down there. I think I can't get the use Daniel Jones in the Colts passing game to get away from right. How do I get away from one of the spend ups that Daniel Jones feels like, and he's low owned, whether it's Pittman, whether it's I don't love the spot for Pierce like you mentioned. How do I put that team together? I'm not sure yet. Right, that's the puzzle part. We're going to try to figure that out.
You can run Daniel Jones naked.
Yeah, you could also play play Derrick Henry, CMC. This could be a way to like play AJ Brown and Bijan and whatever, and like
don't play
it off
Tyler
and
Warren.
Don't play Tyler Warren. Don't force Michael Pittman at whatever he is, 5,400. Right? Yeah. Just play Daniel Jones and like move. Like I've done this actually. Now that I think about that, maybe that is the flag plan. It's like naked. He runs for 2.
Yeah, that's how he kills Jonathan Taylor.
He kills JT with 2.
If he passes for 2, JT could still run for 2.
Right. But I need 2 passing. Right. He throws a touchdown to Mo Alley Cox and Ashton Doolin, and then he runs for 2. Right. Kind of like Bo Nix last week. I know the Bo Nix stacks got there, but we ran a little bad because he ran for 2, and then it was he didn't throw to Sutton or Harvey caught the last one that sucked. Right. So a run out like that, right? And I did that. I've done this with Drake May this year, where it's like, dude, I don't want to, right? Like, I don't want to pick between, I know Diggs sometimes works, but like, I don't want to pick between Pop and Booty and Mac Hollins, right? And Hunter Henry. Like, they're just not that good to play. Like, they could catch the touchdown and it still doesn't matter. That's kind of how I feel about the Colts thing. But Daniel Jones specifically is like, that's how I that's how I connect all these dots, right? It's like it's him instead of JT, and then I get all the other stuff I want in all the other games.
Yeah, no, that's where it's. I love that flag plant. Like it just, the more you talk it out, the more it's like, wait, I don't have to play Michael Pittman. It was feeling gross when you had to play Michael Pittman.
Right.
Then if you just don't, you just don't do it, and you're
you
like,
probably see it in what you just said going through my brain, where I was like, I really want to flag plant Daniel Jones, but like, do I have to say Michael Pittman? You know, I'm like, but then it ruins the flag plant. I really do think it's Daniel Jones like rushing touchdowns.
Yeah,
is what gets you home this week. All right. Hit the like button on your way, all that fun stuff. Like, subscribe. Jordan and I will be here every Thursday giving our kind of, DFS overview, going position by position and talking through our early week flag plants. If you would like to join us on Sunday mornings over on the Roto Grinders channel at 11 a.m. Eastern, myself and your good friend, you probably know Neil Orfield of the Flannelverse and tons of different places. We do a final tournament show over there, so you can join us there. See what we've learned over the course of 3 days. You can check out all of Jordan's stuff at Roto Grinders as well. Cranking out the college football content. We're getting into the thick of it in the college football space, and of course, just all the good stuff that Jordan's doing. I enjoy it particularly because it's a different view. It's a really different view into how, like, as DFS and everything and sports betting are getting more projection and sims and modeling and all that kind of stuff. That's important. I use all that stuff too, but also finding where the best part of what I think my game is finding where those things are not necessarily wrong, but where could they be the most wrong, right? Is like, oh, the Sims are saying this. It's like, yeah, but like because of XYZ, because of some ball knowing, right? Because of this, where could those things be the most flawed? And I think you're like the best out there doing that kind of stuff. So make sure to check out everything that Jordan's doing. Anything else that you got to float before we get out?
No, not much. I'm excited for the college football slate this weekend, as well as the NFL. Both of them tighter pricing. There's some weird ownership things going on right now for college football, because college football is always fun because ownership is directly driven by these major sites that produce projections. While in the NFL, it's
huge. It's not. If you think
fun.
NFL like chalky stuff gets chalky, college football is, dude. You'll have Jeremiah Love at $10,000 be like 80% owned on the slate because of how something it's a lot of fun, but it's crazy.
Haynes King, I think this week is coming in at like 40% from what I've been seeing in early stuff, and like I do not want him at all.
What a suck out from Haynes.
That was so stupid, dude. I was so mad. I had Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed smashed, but Mario Craver sucks, so it didn't matter. I just can't get the full stat. I picked, of the quarterbacks I played last week, I had 4 different quarterbacks go for at least 39. I just could not piece the Saquons. The Saquons of the world just absolutely destroy me. But
check that out. Join us in the college football streets. Ton of fun. I'll be out there on Saturday as well as Jordan. And again, join us on Sunday for our final tournament takes for the NFL slate. And we will see you guys next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel, same bat men, I guess is what it is. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.